Great-great-grandfather, when he was 17 years old, they came to a small town in Poland called Dansk or something like that, and they were going to round up all the Jewish men to fight in the German army, World War I, against England at that time. And he, as a Jew, and they had been very not nice to the Jews in Poland in 1916. So he decided he wasn't going to fight in the army. So he ran away one night, and he went. They lived near water, I guess a port of some kind, and he stole away in a barrel, pickle barrel. He emptied out the pickles, and he stowed away. And the next day, he didn't realize they put all the barrels that were in the port on a ship. And before he knew it, he was out in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean.
Look at your mirror, Matt.
He was out in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. So the cook from the ship came and emptied out all the barrels, and they found your great-great-great-grandfather in the barrel, and they're miles out in the Atlantic Ocean, and they threw him overboard, him and the barrel. And then another man came along and said, "Oh no, don't do that. That's not the right thing to do." And they hauled him back up, and they put him to work in the kitchen. And he went from Poland, whatever port that was, all the way to New York City, and he worked in the kitchen. He was 17 or 18 at the time. He worked in the kitchen, and he scrubbed and he cooked, and they taught him a little bit of English, so he knew you know, when they asked him where he came from, he knew his town, he knew his age, and he knew that he was a Jew, and he also knew that, and he told them that he ran away because he didn't want to fight in Kaiser's army. And he told the story to my grandmother 100 times. Well, anyway, they gave, see, I'm not sure, but his name was Strausmann. So, and the man who was writing down all this wrote Hagen in Polish or whatever means man. So he turned out and he gave him the name of Strausmann. So he came to this country as Joseph Strausmann. He was 18 years old, and the man who rescued him from the ocean took him home with him, introduced him to the granddaughter, introduced him to the daughter he had, and my great-grandfather married my great-grandmother and went to work in the butcher store. And that's how he grew up on the east side of New York, and he learned English, and he went to work in a butcher store, and he lived here all the rest of his life until he died when he was like almost 80. He went to work in the butcher store. He also had a very nice singing voice. And when he got older and he got married to my grandmother, they moved up to Bronx, New York, and he opened up a butcher store. And somebody heard him sing, and there was a storefront shul, you know, in the neighborhood, and they said, "Okay, Joseph, come Friday nights and sing the Haidah." And that's what he did on Friday nights. He sang in the shul. He had a very nice voice, but he didn't do very much with it. And he grew up, and his wife had 3 children. My mother was one of the 3 daughters that he had, and she got married when she was in her 20s to a druggist who unfortunately had leukemia, and he died 2 years later. So I grew up kind of fatherless. My grandparents raised me in the Bronx.